Hey guys, it's Easter weekend and I'm having a really nice relaxed day at home with my boys. So today I'm going to take us through a restorative yoga practice. I've had a very busy week training clients and creating these videos for you, so my body is feeling nice and stiff and I'm really looking forward to having a good stretch. So let's start off lying on our backs and we'll come into supine Baddha Konasana. So taking the soles of the feet together and allowing your knees to open out to the sides. You can either place your hands on your belly or have them at your sides with the palms facing up. And then close your eyes. And immediately start to draw your awareness to your breath. At first, you don't need to do anything to change your breathing. Just notice your breath. Notice the inhale and the exhale. Notice whether you're breathing in through your nose or through your mouth. And then notice if your belly is rising and falling with your breath, or is it your chest that is rising and falling? And now I want you to consciously start to change your breath. So deepening and lengthening the inhales and the exhales. Making sure that the inhale and the exhale are the same length. And I want you to inhale and exhale through your nose only. So keeping your mouth closed. And as you deepen your breath, I want you to draw the breath all the way down into the bottom of your lungs and allow your belly to expand as you inhale. And with every exhale, your belly will descend. Just continue like that for a few more moments, really focusing on your breath and nothing else. Filling up your lungs like balloons. And noticing how by focusing on your breath, by slowing down the breath and drawing it out, you also start to slow down your body, slow down your heart rate, and you start to slow down your mind. Now focus your breath into your inner thighs and the groin, into the hip joints. So all the areas that we're stretching out with our legs open like this. And just notice where your body is holding on, where there's tension. And take your inhale into that area. So in your mind's eye, imagine, you can even imagine your breath like a color, and imagine that you're drawing the breath to the area that feels tight. And as you exhale, imagine that that tightness and that tension is leaving your body with the breath. And then you can blink your eyes open. And to move out of this deep stretch that we've taken into the inner thighs, I want you to move slowly and mindfully. So as I've mentioned before, when you take a really deep stretch in a certain muscle, you don't want to suddenly contract that muscle again because you're sort of negating what you just did, A, and B, you might even strain the muscle by going from a deep stretch to a sudden contraction. So to get out of the Baddha Konasana that you've been holding for a while like this, I want you to first squeeze the soles of the feet together. So So push them into each other and feel how that activates the inner thighs. And then from that gentle activation of the inner thighs, you can slowly start to lift your thighs up. You can even use your hands to assist and bring your knees all the way up. Then draw your right knee into your chest and interlace your hands to place over your shins. And you can stretch the left leg down onto the mat. So notice that my left leg is active. My foot is flexed. You can also point your foot if you prefer, but as long as the foot and the leg are active. So you're squeezing the back of the thigh down towards the mat, feeling a bit of a stretch here over the thigh and the hip flexor. Take a deep, full inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to squeeze the right thigh into the right rib cage. So not in the middle of your chest, it's over to the right side. And pull with all of your strength in your arms. So you can see I've completely closed the gap here between my thigh and my belly. And you want to actually get that constriction into the belly. And by getting that constriction, so really pulling your thigh against your abdomen, and then still taking those deep, full breaths into your belly, you start to massage into the digestive organs. So this is a really good pose for maintaining healthy digestion. Keep your shoulders and your neck relaxed. And you should feel a tweaky sort of feeling in the groin and in the hip joints. Keep your right hand on your shin, place your left hand out to the side, or take your left hand onto your left hip. So I want you to keep the left hip down, lift your right foot up slightly and flex the foot, so there's more of a 90-degree angle in your knee, and then you're going to open your right knee up to the right side. So once again, opening up into that right hip joint. And you can either use your hand to press your left hip down or hand out to the side. And you're aiming to keep the weight even on both sides of your body. So not tipping over to the right, you're keeping the left shoulder blade and the left hip down on the mat. On an exhale breath, use your abdominals to bring your knee up to center, and then we change hands. So left hand onto your shin, right hand goes out to the side, take a full inhale, and then use your exhale breath to twist through your spine, taking your knee across your body, and your gaze goes over your right shoulder. Keep working the right shoulder blade down into the mat. And just move gently here. Your body's not really warm yet, so you don't have to push your knee across. Just allow gravity to pull your knee closer down to the floor, and you keep trying to get your right shoulder down. And as you hold it there and focus on your breath, allow the spinal muscles to relax. So the more you can relax into the spinal muscles, the deeper you can go into the twist. You might even get a nice click in your spine, which I just did. So I got that click by fully relaxing my body on the exhale, not by pushing with strength. So it's more of a relaxing and a softening into it, and that allows the twist to happen in the spine. On an exhale, come back to center. And now we're going to straighten the right leg up towards the ceiling. So you can start off holding on behind your thigh and then flex your foot. So reaching the heel up towards the ceiling. You're still stretching the left leg down onto the mat and keeping it active. So this is where you might be, and you might stay here. Maybe you start to walk your hands higher up, so maybe to the calf, and allow it to be a progression, so you don't need to try and stretch to your fullest capacity right from the start. Rather start off slow, hold it, work with the breath, and then as the muscle releases, you can start to draw your leg a little closer in And don't worry if you can't get your leg as close to your chest as mine. You just work with your body. Wherever you're feeling a stretch on your hamstring is good. Hold it there and work with your breath. Then we're going to bring some movement into this stretch to really get into the hamstring. So bend your knee until it comes into your chest, and then take your hands to the outer edges of your feet. So the sole of the foot is still parallel to the ceiling. If this is not available to you, you can use a yoga strap, or if you don't have a strap, you can just use a hand towel. So you can hook the towel over your foot. Okay, so that gives you a little bit more length if you can't reach to your foot. So keeping the sole of the foot facing the ceiling, from that bent leg, you're going to exhale to extend your leg. And then inhale, draw the knee in, but notice I'm not dropping my foot down. The foot stays up. So you're just bending the knee and then exhale, extend. Let's do 4 more like that. Deep, full inhale. And then exhale, reach your heel to the ceiling. And 3 more. And twice more. And one last one. And then hold it there with your legs straight, the foot flexed. And just be mindful of the fact that on different days your body feels different. So today I'm feeling quite stiff and tight because of all the hard training I've done this week. So normally I can get my leg much closer to my chest, but today I can feel that this is enough of a stretch for me, and that's fine. So don't be surprised if on some days you think your leg should be in a certain place and it's not there. If you're feeling a stretch, then it's enough. Okay, so I'm going to place my hand towel down. If you're using the hand towel or a strap, you can keep using it as we move through the next couple of stretches. If you can reach your foot and wrap your 2-piece fingers around your big toe, you're going to use that grip. But you by no means have to, so you make use of props if you need to. So you're keeping the foot flexed, and we're going to take the leg into external rotation. So that means I'm turning my leg so that my toe and my knee point off to the right side at an angle. Place your left hand out to the side, and once again you actually have to use your core to keep the left side of your body down on the floor as you open your right leg out to the side. So again, we're opening into the hip. So you might feel like you're going to start falling over to the right side. Try to be heavy into the left side of your body. For me, it helps if I look over to the left, and then you maintain the weights even in both sides of the back body. And with each stretch that you hold, immediately come back to your breath. So as soon as you've moved into the stretch, check in with your breath. Have you shortened your breath, or maybe started to hold your breath? And immediately re-establish that nice, smooth, deep breathing that we had in the beginning. And you want to try and get that breath with every single stretch. And if you can establish that good, smooth, rhythmic breathing, you'll notice that it will actually help you with your stretching. You'll be able to stretch deeper. So when we hold our breath, the body automatically thinks that something is wrong. And when the body senses that something is wrong, it wants to be ready to react, so everything tenses up. So holding your breath is very counterintuitive to stretching. It doesn't help, it actually makes it much more difficult. So when you find yourself in a stretch and it's uncomfortable and you feel yourself tensing up like that and holding your breath, consciously take a deep full inhale and then release it. Do that once or twice more, and then you'll feel your muscles softening and you'll feel your body releasing into the stretch. So now to come out of this, I want you to connect into the abdominals and pull your leg up to center. And then we're going to change sides. So now I'm going to take my left hand to the outer edge of my foot if you're using a strap or a towel, you're just going to change hands. So instead of holding the towel with the right hand, you'll now be holding both sides of the towel with the left hand. Take your right hand out to the side and then start to pull your leg across your body. So this is a very intense stretch into the ITB. I can already feel it there. So now you're twisting through the spine and you're getting that deep neural stretch into the ITB, the outer edge of the leg. And it's not a very nice feeling, I will admit. So if this one is too much for you, you can also soften your knee. So just bend your knee slightly, and that takes away the intensity of the stretch into the ITB. And once again, we're trying to get the right shoulder down to the floor. Maximum twisting through the spine. And if you feel enough of a stretch where you are, just stay there. If you want to deepen the stretch slightly, I want you to think of pulling your right hip towards the front edge of the mat where your foot is and off to the right side. So forward and to the right, and that'll deepen the stretch. So it's taking the hip that way, and that deepens the ITB stretch. Check in with your breath. Deep, smooth breathing. To come out of this stretch, see if you can keep your legs straight and use your core to come back up to center, nice and slow, no jerking movements. If that's not happening for you, you can simply bend your knee and bring it back into your chest. Either way, we'll land up here with the knee bent in at the chest again, and then place your right foot down, draw your left foot in, and as you bring your left knee into your chest, you interlace your hands over your chest, but I want you to swap your grip around. So you automatically always use the same grip. So you're just going to swap your fingers around so you now have your non-habitual grip over the left shin, and then straighten the right leg down. Remember to keep the right leg active. So either flexing or pointing your foot and reaching the back of your thigh down into the mat. Take a deep, full inhale. And as you exhale, squeeze your left thigh up against the left side of your rib cage. So not the center of your chest, not all the way out to the side. It's just into that left side of the rib cage till you get that tweaky feeling in the groin and that constriction into the abdomen. And then use your breath to work your belly against your thigh. So as you inhale, allow your belly to push against your thigh. And that's what helps to get the massaging into the internal organs. So this pose helps to stimulate peristalsis, which is the action of the colon and the intestines to move food through your system as you digest. Take your right hand out to the side or onto your right hip. Lift your left foot slightly so there's more of a 90-degree angle in the left knee, and you're flexing your foot, and then open your knee up to the left. Maintaining your weight evenly in both sides of the body, so keep the right side of the body down on the mat. On an exhale breath, use your abdominals, so connect the abs to draw the knee up to center, change hands, left hand goes out to the side, deep full inhale, and use your exhale to twist through your spine, drawing your knee across to the right, taking your gaze all the way to the left, And remember, you're not using force here. So you're not pulling your knee down with your hand. You're just gently guiding it down and then allowing gravity to do its work. So consciously using your breath to relax all the back muscles, and that allows the spine to twist deeper. Use an exhalation to contract your abdominals and draw your knee back up to center. And then we're going to straighten out the left leg. So you can start with your hands behind your thigh, reaching your heel up towards the ceiling. And if this is already a challenge for you, maybe it's going to start off more like this. And what you're aiming for is to eventually get your legs straight. Whereas if this is very easy for you, this will be your start point and you're working towards bringing your straight leg closer towards your chest. So just being mindful of working with your body. And with stretching, you have to be honest with yourself about what you're doing. So if you opt out of the stretch, you're not going to get any benefit from it. But on the other hand, don't ever push it so far that you pull your muscle. So a good stretch feels uncomfortable, but never painful. If you've pushed it to the point of pain, you're probably taking it too far and you need to back off a little bit. The other problem with pushing it too far is when your body experiences pain, it tenses up. So there's a fine line between pushing the stretch to its maximum and pushing it so far that your body starts to tense up and then you're not actually getting anywhere. You need to find that happy medium where you're feeling a deep stretch, but at the same time you can work with your body, work with your breath, start to relax your body, and then you can start to slowly move deeper into the stretch. So that's the focus in this type of a yoga class where all the stretches are very slow, is that you're using the opportunity to really calm down your body, calm down your nervous system, and work with your breath so that your body starts to soften and open, which is not necessarily something you can achieve in, say, a vinyasa class where you're moving a lot and you're working with yang energy. So you really want to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system when you're doing this type of yoga, and you should feel really relaxed. And when your body starts to relax, you can actually stretch deeper. So of course here, if you need to, you're going to use your strap or your towel. Now we're going to bend the knee into the chest. If you're just using your hands, you take your hands to the outer edges of your feet. Remember, your foot stays facing up to the ceiling here. So you're not going to drop the foot down, it stays facing up. And as you exhale, you straighten your leg. And then inhale to bend your knee into your chest again. And exhale, straighten, and inhale, bend. Let's do 4 more like that. And 3 more. 2 more. Don't forget about the other leg. Keep it straight and active. And last one. Now we're going to hold that extension. So if you're using a strap or a towel, you're going to hold both sides of it with your left hand. Otherwise, 2 peace fingers wrap around the big toe. And when you've got your leg up like this, just make sure that this left hip is not pulling up into your ribs, into the waist. So you want to maintain the length down the left side. So your hips are square. Then we take the leg into external rotation. So that means turning it. Okay, so the knee and the toe point out towards the left. And then you're going to take your leg out to the left side. And if you only get to here and that's as far as you can go, that's fine. You don't necessarily need to take your leg all the way down to the floor. Just take it as far as you can so that you feel a good stretch into the hip as well as into the hamstring, the adductor, the inner thigh. And your right hand is all the way out to the side, trying to push the right shoulder blade and the right hip down into the mat. You can turn your gaze all the way to the right if that helps. Check in with your breath once again. Are you holding your breath or have you shortened your breath? Come back to that deep, smooth, rhythmic breathing. Now use an exhale breath to contract your abdominals, using your core to smoothly and slowly draw your leg up to center, so not just jerking it up. And then change hands. So right hand goes onto the strap or towel or to the outer edge of your foot. Stretch your left hand out, take a deep full inhale. And as you exhale, moving into a twist with a straight leg this time. If you need to, you can soften your knee slightly. Try to move with control here, so don't just let your foot fall down to the floor. Control it down. Allowing the left shoulder to be heavy down on the floor. You can turn your gaze all the way to the left. And then once again, you can pull this top hip down towards the front edge of the mat, and then slightly off to the left front corner of the mat as well. And that just deepens that stretch into the outer edge of the leg. And when you find yourself in a really uncomfortable stretch like this one, and your breath starts to speed up, just make a conscious effort to slow down your breath again. Nice full inhale. And whenever you need to, you can sigh the breath out your mouth. But between those exhale sighs, try to maintain the breath in and out through your nose only, so keeping the mouth closed. And by inhaling and exhaling through the nostrils only, that helps to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. So when we breathe through our mouths, that stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response. So that's a nice little tip for you if you're in a stressful situation at work or with your family, and you feel like you need to calm yourself down. Just check how you're breathing. So taking deep breaths in through your nose, and maybe sighing the breath out your mouth a couple of times, but then closing your mouth and breathing only through your nose. Really effective for calming your whole body down. On an exhale breath, contract your abdominals. Use your core if you're able to. Bring your leg all the way up, and then draw your knee into your chest once again. Now we bring both knees into the chest, and you can wrap your arms around and hold on to your opposite elbows. And now try to lengthen and flatten your spine against the mat. So a slight tuck of the chin to lengthen the back of the neck. And now try to push your tailbone and your sacrum down into the floor. So your knees are pushing into your forearms. And if you can't hold on to opposite elbows, that's fine. You can just hold on to your forearms wherever you can reach. Or maybe just hold on to your opposite hands. Gently rock side to side. From there we'll go into a happy baby. So opening your knees wide on either side of your chest and then lifting your feet so the soles of the feet are parallel to the ceiling. Here Here you can either hold on to the outer edges of your feet, or I prefer to take my arms on the insides of my knees and hold on to the inner edges of my feet. Once you've got that grip, you might have tucked your pelvis a lot. So now I want you to draw your lower back and your sacrum down into the floor, and then tuck your chin again, so keeping the back of the neck long. And then you can start to pull with your hands to draw your knees closer down to the floor. So your knees are moving on either side of your torso down towards the floor. And you can either stay exactly here, or if you like, you can rock side to side. So this might be a little bit challenging for your core. You might feel like you're going to rock all the way over. So it's a little bit of a core activation, but I also just like that gentle massage that you get into your back as you rock side to side. And it also feels to me like it helps a little bit to release into the inner thighs and the groin. Then coming back to center, we're going to go into a half straddle. So keeping the right leg in happy baby, straighten the left leg out. So if you can maintain the grip on your foot, that's cool. Otherwise, maybe your hand comes down to your thigh. And you just hold the left leg in a straddle while the right leg is still in happy baby. And then bring your left leg back in. So you're going to bend into the knee and it comes back to happy baby. And then straighten the right leg out into that half straddle. And every now and then just check yourself, because your sacrum is always going to tend to tuck up off the mat. So you have to keep on drawing it back down into the mat, flattening out the lower back. And then soften the right knee. Draw your right foot in again, and now we go for a full straddle. So you can either keep holding on both feet as you exhale to extend both legs out into a full straddle. And if you have that grip on your feet, you can use your hands to pull your legs down. Or if that's not accessible to you, bring your hands to the inner thighs, actually almost to the outer thighs. So you've wrapped your hands all the way around, and then you're going to use your hands to get that external rotation. So you want your toes pointing down towards the floor, heels pointing up towards the ceiling. And then you can use your hands to deepen the stretch and try to open your legs wider. From there, I want you to just soften. So you're not drawing the legs in, you're just softening your feet, softening your knees, and slowly allow your heels to drop down. Then take your hands to the outer edges of your knees and use your hands to pull your knees in. So once again, coming out of that deep stretch mindfully so that you don't pull your inner thighs by drawing your legs up. Now start to rock back and forth on your spine a couple of times, and feel how that just stretches out the spinal muscle. So if your back is tight, this should feel really good. And see if you can balance on your sit bones here at the top. Let's do that twice more. And then come up onto your feet. So there's a little bit of a trick here. You might be able to come all the way up onto your feet, like that. So feet are hip width distance apart. If that just seems crazy to you, you're going to cross your ankles as you come up, and then just use your hands, and then come into a forward fold on your mat. Allow your head to hang down. Feet are hip width distance apart, maybe even slightly wider. So you've got a good solid base with your feet, and you're just allowing your torso to drape down towards the floor. Completely relax your neck. You can shake your head out side to side and back and forth. Now hold on to your opposite elbow, so your thumb hooks into the elbow crease. And we're going to do circular roll downs. On an inhale, take your chest across to the right, and as you exhale, roll up on the right side. So you get a stretch on the left side body. And when you come up to center at the top, draw your elbows back behind your head. So my bun is kind of in the way, but you want to try and open up your chest, really stretch out the shoulders and the pecs. And now we roll down on the left side as you exhale. So we've made a big circle. At the bottom, when you inhale, you move through center and then exhale, roll up on the right side again. Getting that stretch on the left. Inhale, open your chest at the top. Exhale, roll down on the left, stretching out the right side. Let's do one more circle in that direction. Deep, full inhale as you open your chest, open the arms. Exhale, roll down on the left. And now we change it around. So inhale to the left, exhale up on the left side. And throughout these circular roll downs, keep your knees soft. And allow your knees to move as they need to, as your body moves side to side. Rolling down on the right side on an exhale. Inhale, move through center. Exhale, up on the left side. Inhale, open your chest. Exhale, rolling down on the right. So these should feel really good. It's one of my favorite stretches. One last circle. Inhale, over to the left. Exhale, up on the left. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, roll down on the right. Come back to center, release your arms. Keep your knees soft, allowing the torso to drape down from the hips. Now interlace your hands right up to the webbing of the hands and place your hands over the back of your head, allowing the pinky finger to hook underneath the occipital ridge, that bony ridge at the back of your head. And then the rest of the hand will close over your neck. Then you're going to close your arms around your head. And make your arms very heavy. So your hands become a weight that stretches out your neck. So allowing the crown of the head to point down at the floor. Tipping the weight forward to the balls of your feet. And if this is enough of a stretch for you, you can hold it here. If you'd like to take it one step further, lift your chin up, and then you're going to bring your elbows underneath your chin and squeeze your elbows together. Take a deep full inhale here, and as you exhale, pull down. So now you're tractioning out your neck. And you might even get a click in your neck. And then you can release your hands. So that's a really nice way of releasing into the neck. Then coming back down onto all fours. And we'll move through some cat-cow. As you inhale, lower your belly, draw your shoulders back, lift the sit bones, and look up in front of you. So really trying to contract the spinal muscles here as you stretch out the abdominals. And then as you exhale, I want you to ripple from the back, so from your tailbone. So you're tucking the pelvis first, and then feel the rippling action moving up your spine as you round your spine and you finally tuck your chin in. Inhale to lower your belly, draw your shoulders back, look up in front. And then exhale to tuck your pelvis, draw the abdominals in, stretching out your spine. Let's do that once more. Inhale. And exhale. From that cat pose, I want you to reach your buttocks down towards your heels. So you're still rounding through the spine.
And then we're going to move through a cat-cow, but we're going to add a big circle. So now start to go into your cow. Draw your sit bones back. Reach your heart forward and down. And circle up. And then round the spine. Sit your buttocks down to your heels. Bend your elbows as you reach your heart forward. So you're very close to the mat here. And then lifting up and rounding away. Let's do one more circle like that. Just getting a lot of movement into the spine. Now we're going to reverse it. So from that rounded spine with the sit bones down at the heels, you're going to move forward with a rounded spine and then release your heart down. So here it's sort of like that chaturanga movement that we do in vinyasa. And then push away, try to keep the extension here and keep lifting your sit bones up as you push away and then tuck your pelvis and round your spine. And then reach the heart down, bend your elbows. So you're lowering your chest and then pushing back. So you're actually working your triceps here as well. And once more. Coming back to a neutral spine. And then let's do another nice deep stretch into the hips. So we're going to come into a froggy. So we're going to take the knees nice and wide. You can be on the length of your mat like this so that you have padding for your knees. I don't have the most flexible hips, so you'll see I can't go very deep into this pose. Some of you may be able to take your pelvis completely flat on the floor. So you're sliding your knees out as wide as you can, and then just have a look at your legs. I want a 90-degree angle in your knees. So your feet are not drawing in like this. You've got your feet in line with your knees and your feet are flexed. And then you can come down onto your elbows. And then we're just going to hang out there for a while. So you'll see that my hips are still quite far away from the floor because, as I said, my hips are not very open, probably due to all my years and years of horse riding. So you just hold it where you can feel the stretch, and it feels quite nice here to sort of rock your hips back and forth. So I can feel as I push my hips back, I get a deeper stretch in a certain point, and then it feels different when I bring my hips forward. So I like to sort of move it back and forth a little bit. There's benefit to doing static stretches, but there's also a different benefit to bringing movement into stretches. So I often like to bring some movement into my stretches. I just feel that it makes the muscle warmer and then it loosens up and you can get a little bit deeper into the stretch rather than just holding and hoping that the length of time that you're holding for is what's going to deepen the stretch. I like to bring a little bit of movement in, and I find that to be more effective. So as you're holding that, you might be able to just slide your knees a little bit wider. And if you have your hips all the way down on the floor, you might bring your chest down to the floor as well so that you're lying completely flat. And just come back to your breath here. Deep, slow breaths, full breathing. Now to come out of this pose is quite awkward and you also have to be careful because this is a super deep stretch into the inner thighs and you don't want to strain those muscles. So the easiest way that I found to come out of this stretch, I always used to feel so awkward when I did it in classes, is to now start to draw the feet in. So exactly what I told you not to do in the beginning, you're going to draw the feet in. So that already releases the stretch a little bit. And then maybe just walk your hands in and you're going to take the weight onto your hands. So try to take all the weight into your hands and just slowly and gently bring your knees in. So you might even be able to tuck your toes under and then that lifts the weight up off your knees. So just move mindfully out of that stretch so that you don't strain the muscles as you come out of it.
And then come to sitting on your knees. And then we'll go into Virasana. So there we were in a very wide open stretch, and we're going to do sort of the opposite now by going into an internal rotation with the thighs. So if you have issues with your knees, you might not be able to do this pose, so you can just sit it out. If you know that you have tight hips, make sure that you have a pillow with you, and you can put a pillow underneath your buttocks. Otherwise, you're going to come up onto your knees and then open your feet out to the sides. So your knees are together, your feet are wide, and if you have nice big juicy calves like I do, you're going to use your hands to turn your calves out of the way. Otherwise they get into the way as you sit your buttocks down. Okay, so if you try to do this and it doesn't feel good, quickly go fetch a pillow or a cushion from your couch and you put that under your buttocks, so that'll just lift you up slightly so it's easier on your knees. Otherwise, if you feel like you might be able to hold it here, but it's just a little bit too uncomfortable, you can also bring your hands behind you, press your fingers into the floor and just lift up slightly. So you've taken a bit of the weight out of your hips and you can hold it there. And I'm going to turn to the side so that I can show you the next step. So if you are sitting on a pillow, you're going to stay exactly where you are. You're not going to do the next step. You stay sitting on your pillow, upright like this. If you have your hands behind you and you're lifting yourself up slightly, your next step will be to see if you can maybe release your hips down and then just sit up straight like this. If you're sitting like this and it feels super easy and you're happy and comfortable, then you're going to take it to the next step, which is Supta Virasana, which means we're going to take our upper body back onto the mat. But I want you to be mindful about how you do it. So first have a watch to see, and then you can do it yourself. So place your hands on top of your feet, fingers facing forward, and you bring the heel of the hand down onto the mat. And then you're going to start to go back and bring your elbows down onto the floor. So now squeezing the elbows in towards each other, still holding onto the feet. And if you feel like this is enough for you, just stay here. This is enough. Maybe your chin is tucked into your chest. Maybe you drop your head all the way back. If you're here and it feels good and you want to go further, slide your elbows closer in towards your buttocks until you can bring the top of your head down. So now I'm cheating here because I've got my nice big bun. So you should actually be able to bring the top of your head down onto the mat. And once again, if that is enough for you, you stay there with your elbows pressing into the floor. If you want to go further, tuck your chin, place the back of your head down on the mat, then the top of your shoulders down. And then the final step is maybe you can reach your arms over your head and hold on to opposite elbows. So obviously to do this pose requires a certain amount of flexibility and it's quite intense into your spine. So if you have any issues with your spine or with your knees, please don't attempt it. You can just do the upright sitting one, sitting on a pillow if you need to. And if your body is nice and limber and you want to give this a go, you just have to be mindful about how you go into it. So as I said with the camel pose in Yoga 3, the important thing is when you go in and when you come out, you don't want to be twisting your spine. So you're not twisting your shoulders to the left or the right. You go straight back, and when you come up again, you go straight up. So once you hold your Supta Virasana for a few breaths, and you can hang out here for quite a while if it's a comfortable pose for you. This has always been one of my favorites. It's a really nice opening into the front body. It gets quite deep into the hip flexors, which is nice. And then when you move out of this pose, you're going to bring your hands back onto your feet and then bring your elbows underneath you. So you're going to slip one elbow underneath you, the other elbow, until you can come onto the top of your head. And once you're on the top of your head, walk your elbows in to start to lift up. And once you can, place your hands down on the mat to lift yourself up, directly up, straight. So not twisting to one side or the other. So just coming out of it consciously. Then you're going to come back onto your knees and then take your legs forward.
And then you'll feel a rush of blood through your legs because you're constricting through the knee joints. It constricts the blood flow. So it might feel a little bit uncomfortable when you come out of it. So we're just going to shake out the legs a little bit. And then scoot your buttocks forward on the mat and come to lying down on your back. And we'll go into halasana or plow pose. So once again, if you have any neck issues or any spinal issues, this one is not for you. We're taking our legs back over our heads. So you're going to place your palms down at your sides, lift one leg and then the other leg up to tabletop, and then straighten your legs, push into your arms to take your legs over your head, and your feet come down to the floor behind your head. Make sure that your weight is in your shoulders, not in your neck. And then here, you might be able to interlace your hands and then walk your elbows in, which walks your shoulders in. So you've got a really good solid base on your shoulders and your neck is completely relaxed. So similar to the rollover position in Pilates. So if you've done that video and you've done the rollovers, you'll know what you're doing here and you'll be more comfortable in this pose. Very important here to not move your head side to side. So your nose is pointing up towards the ceiling and that's where it stays. So a lot of constriction happening here into the abdomen as well as into the front of the throat. I haven't gone too deep into mine so that I can still talk to you. You can hear as I go deeper, it's constricting my voice. But that is one of the benefits of this pose. You're constricting into the thyroid gland. So in a lot of yoga poses, just like we did now with the Supta Virasana, where we were constricting blood flow in the legs, you constrict the blood flow and then when you release from the pose, you get a fresh rush of oxygen-rich blood into that area. So a lot of health benefits. So by constricting and massaging into the thyroid gland, you're helping to stimulate your metabolism, so regulating your metabolism. So to get deeper into the pose, you slide your feet further away from you and get your hips higher up, directly above your shoulders if possible. Beautiful deep stretch through the thoracic spine, so you should be feeling it between the shoulder blades. Remember, no weight in your neck. Your chin stays tucked, the weight remains in your shoulders. And whenever you've had enough, you can come out of it. So you don't need to hold it for as long as I did. When you come out of it, release your hands down into the mat. Keep your thighs close to your chest as you roll down through your spine. So using your core here to control it. And then from 90 degrees, you're going to take your legs all the way down to the mat, only if you have no lower back issues. If your lower back tends to be a little bit tweaky, rather just bend your knees and place your feet down. If your back is fine and your core is strong and you want to challenge your core, you're going to take your legs down nice and slow, all the way down to the floor. And then we go into the counter pose, which is Matsyasana or fish pose. So we were just constricting into the front body here, into the thyroid and the throat chakra. And now we're going to open it up with fish pose. So coming up onto your elbows, keep your legs straight and active, so pointing your feet and bring your elbows in towards each other, and you can sort of cup the outer edges of your buttocks. Some people prefer putting their hands flat like this. Either one is fine. The palms can be flat, the palms can be up, elbows in, and then lift your chest. So now you're opening up the front body, lift through the heart, and then drop your head back. And then we'll do 3 rounds of lion's breath here. So that means you take a deep, full inhale through your nose, and then you're going to open your mouth, stick your tongue out, and roar the breath out like a lion. Sounds very silly, feels very silly, but it's good for you. So let's do that together. Nice deep, full inhale. Lion's breath out.
Deep full inhale. As you exhale, open your eyes wide. And once more, inhale. And then tuck your chin into your chest, tuck your pelvis, release your hands and roll down onto your back. So if you just had a good laugh at me and you're wondering, what am I doing with that lion's breath? It's just a really good cleansing breath. So really emptying the lungs out, getting rid of any stale air stuck at the bottom of the lungs. Take your feet wide on the mat. Just allow your body to soften down into the floor. Arms at your sides and the palms facing up, drawing the shoulders down away from your ears. Allow your eyes to close. Take a deep, full inhale. Open your mouth and release the breath. Shavasana. Allow your body to come to rest. Just notice how your body is feeling after all those deep stretches. You might feel tingling sensations in certain areas. Other areas might feel really nice and loose. Allow your thoughts to soften, just allowing them to come and go. Don't grab hold of any one thought. Don't get caught up in a story in your head. Just notice the thoughts and then let them go. Allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm. And you can stay in your Shavasana for as long as you like, especially after a good restorative yoga like that. It's nice to have a good long Shavasana. When you are ready to come out of it, you're going to start to deepen your breath, still keeping the eyes closed. If you need to, you can swallow and lick your lips. And then start to wiggle your toes and your fingers. And then take one last stretch by reaching your hands up above your head, stretching your toes in the opposite direction, trying to stretch yourself as long as possible. And then release yourself back down into the floor. Draw your knees into your chest. If you like, you can rock side to side a little bit here. And then roll over onto your side. Into a fetal position. Allowing the earth to hold you for a moment. And then when you're ready, you can use your hand in front of you to gently press yourself up to sitting.
Come to sitting in a comfortable position for a moment. Lengthen through your spine. Plug your sit bones down into the floor. And just notice the space that you've created within your body with your practice. Notice how your body feels now compared to an hour ago. And now notice the spaciousness that you created within your mind. See the stillness that you found. And place your left hand on your heart and your right hand on top of the left. Gentle pressure to connect with your own heartbeat, connecting with yourself. Solidifying that connection that you've just made to that place of deep stillness within your center. Recognizing that you can come back to the stillness at any point in time. It is always available to you. It resides within you. It doesn't come from any yoga teacher, any meditation audio. It is yours. It lives within you. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you back here again soon for another session. As you can see, I'm all super calm and dazed out, and I hope you are too. Have a beautiful day.